Stop the presses. We're going back. Keep Yourself Alive Revisited, next on Crown Jewels. Welcome back to Crown Jewels. I'm your host, PLD, and we are going back in time. That's right, we have stopped the Flash Gordon soundtrack temporarily. We will return to the Flash Gordon soundtrack when we're done. But for the next couple weeks, 13 of them possibly, we are going to be going back in time because the Queen 1 Collector's Edition box set has come out. We're going to be revisiting some of the tracks from Queen 1, all of them, in fact, because all of the Queen tracks have different versions to listen to now to see whether or not they can topple what was already named Crown Jewel. We got a bunch of them to listen to. Like I said, we're starting off with the first track on the album, Keep Yourself Alive, and we have 4 more versions to listen to and to judge. We got the 2024 mix, the 2024 De Lane Lay demo mix, Trident Take 13, Unused Master, and an instrumental version to contend with. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. But this is a podcast where I'm not just reviewing the Queen 1 Collector's Box Set Edition. This is a podcast where I've been going through every song in the Queen catalog chronologically, listening to all the different versions of the songs that are out there, and figuring out which is the best version or the titular Crown Jewel version to slide into an ultimate playlist. So you're not going to get just the box set here. Over the course of the next 13 weeks or so, we will be going through each track individually from the box set, comparing it to the track that had initially won Crown Jewel status, and see where these versions slide into the rankings. Now, we're starting this week with Keep Yourself Alive, like I said, and we got 4 versions to listen to. We have the 2024 mix, the De Lane Lay demo 2024 mix, a Trident Take 13, an unused master, and an instrumental to contend with. Now, I don't like to get strikes, so I can't actually listen to the tracks with you. So what I do is if you look in the show notes, there'll be a link to a Google Doc. On that Google Doc, we'll have all links to YouTube versions so you can listen to them. So when I tell you to, I'll tell you to pause me, and then you listen to the track, you come back, and you listen to what I have to say about it. It's not the best solution, but I found it's worked for us. Now, looking back at the original episode covering Keep Yourself Alive, let's recap what the rankings were. I did initially rank the Queen and Adam Lambert live version. It was not officially released version, so I considered it like an alternate live take. And we had so many other versions to rank, I decided not to. But if I was going to rank it, I'd probably put it last because it was usually a shortened version. It wasn't Freddie Live, which always hurts it for me specifically. Your miles may vary. I know Adam Lambert has a lot of fans, and more power to them. But I would rank it last. Then I went to the Trident version, the unreleased acetate that we had listened to. BB Session July 1973, BB Session February 1973, the album version, Live at the Hammersmith Odeon, Live Killers, the De Lane Lay demo, Live at the Rainbow March 1974, Queen Rocks Montreal, Live at the Rainbow in November 1974, and then the Long Lost retake from 1975. That's how I ranked them initially. Now, like I said, we have the 4 versions to listen to, and I got to make something clear here. The Trident Take 13 Unused Master, well, it is the unreleased acetate version we got. It's just from the master tape, so it's a lot better sounding. So it will replace that, and you'll have to see whether or not that bumps it up or not. Now, the links will be there for every single version, like I said, but as far as this episode goes, we're just going to concentrate on the album version, the main album version, since the 2024 mix is in comparison to that, the De Lane Lay demo, because the 2024 mix is in comparison to that, the Long Lost retake, because that was the version that won my Crown Jewel initially, and then we'll listen to obviously the Trident Take 13 and the instrumental. I also include the Trident version acetate in there as well, but obviously the Trident Take 13 unused master is going to be superior to that. So let's get right down to it. The first one we're going to listen to, I'm going to listen to the 2024 mix, the album version of the 2024 mix. We'll go listen to those two, compare them a little bit, and come back. We will talk about it. And welcome back. Now, you're probably sick of me saying this if you're a long-time listener, but the drums in the original were they were just lacking. It's always been a problem with the drum sound in Trident and so how they wanted to record it back in the day. Not how Queen wanted to record it, but how the studio technicians and everything wanted to record it. It's the reason why one of the reasons we had the collector's edition box in the first place. Brian and Roger specifically had always wanted to revisit it and punch up the sounds, make them sound a little more how they initially wanted them to feel, wanted them to sound. And quite frankly, you can tell right from the get-go, this is exactly what they did. The drums are so much more pounding, so much more thundering. I have heard some people complain about the snare sound, having it sound too modern, but I gotta be honest with you, I'd much rather have the most thundering, pounding drums like that we get that feels like you're in the room with them, rather than having it just make it like a 70s sounding drum if need be. I think the sound is a lot better than 2024 mix. Guitar sounds less muddy. You can hear like distinct picking, especially at the beginning and the end. Brian's is very crisp and very clear. To me, the bass sounds a little more thunderous, but at the same time, it's more clear. It's a less muddy sound in general. The vocals sound more or less the same to me. I know there's been some issue online with some of the 2024 mixes. I guess they did use some pitch correction at times, which I am against. Don't get me wrong, I'm generally almost always against it. But at the same time, I admit I'm getting older. I don't have the same ears that I used to have, so I don't pick it out nearly as easily as other people do, so it doesn't usually bother me as well. I don't really sense much here. The vocals did sound more or less the same, like I said, but the 2024 mix to me is definitely a superior mix to the album version. I don't know what you think. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. All right, let's move on now to the 2024 Daylane Lay demo. I did include both things so you can compare them again. Go take a listen to that, and we'll come back for more. And there you have it, the 2024 mix versus the 2011 mix of the 1971 demos from Daylane Lay Studio. Just a quick reminder, in 2011, the band released their entire catalog on Island and included bonus EPs for each of the albums, and for Queen 1, it was the Daylane Lay Sessions. Now, there was the vinyl scratching sound in the 2011 version. I took it from Brian May's Acetate. I don't know if they want to keep that to have the ambiance of being there in 1971 back in the day. I always found it a bit like artificial and not worth it to me. I'd rather have the crystal clear mix. So 2024 does not have that at all. We just have the Daylane Lay demo without the scratching sound at the beginning. And my God, I love the 2024 Daylane Lay even more like than comparing the 2024 album mix versus the album mix. The drums are pounding. The guitar is so crisp, and the vocals and the drum solo, those like screaming vocals, those kind of like Rolling Stones-ish kind of Sympathy for the Devil kind of screaming going on in the background. I love that addition. You can hear them a lot bumped more up in the mix. I love the chaos of it. I do love the chaos of it a little bit. I do actually think the Daylane Lay was actually probably greater. It's definitely greater than the album version for sure. Even the band, I think, like to say that. Back in the day, they said that they preferred the Daylane Lay demo over anything they recorded because the Daylane Lay demo had such an ambiance to it, such a magic to it that they never could recreate. However, they couldn't just bring them over. They did that with Night Comes Down. They couldn't do it with all the other tracks, unfortunately. Trident wouldn't allow it. They had to sneak in Night Comes Down from the Daylane Lay demo session and mix that. I think they didn't want to do too much otherwise. They had to come to a version that they were happy enough with, but at the end of the day, I think they all prefer the Daylane Lay demo, and I do too. And I actually prefer the 2024 version even more because I can just hear more. It's a little more crisper. I don't know what I can say more than that. It's a great version for sure. All right, we're going to move on to the Trident Take 13. I did include the link to the Acetate version if you want to, but unless you really want to compare the two, you can. But Trident Take 13, obviously, as the officially released version from the master tapes, is going to sound better. But let's take a listen to the Trident Take 13. Come back, we'll talk about it. I have to tell you, sometimes sound can just make it work so much better for me. I love this version far more this way than I did with the original Acetate. And I really enjoyed the Acetate version. I thought the mix was definitely an interesting mix. However, the crisper sound of the Trident Take makes me appreciate this version even more. So far, I think it might move up the list. I like it that much. It's definitely chaotic. We got a little bit of some extended chatter in the beginning, and at the end, they dear me at the end, which is nice. That part wasn't included in the Acetate version. There's a little more chaos. Those background vocals are definitely chaotic. The sound is like a wild, energetic sound. I might prefer it to the album version. I have to think about that. But I definitely think this is a version worth listening to. And as far as Crown Jewels go, I gotta say, when you get the sessions like these released, like we had the Miracle sessions and News of the World sessions, it's rare for a version like a demo version like that to really contend for the Crown Jewel, because usually they're not finished. They're not quite there yet. They're still in development. You're going to hear a lot of that with the Queen 1 sessions. Some of them are very early on, so they can't really be considered almost complete songs, really, even. This is, though, pretty close. I mean, Take 13, that's it's a complete song. So this one definitively has a shot of hitting the top, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, got one more to listen to. Let's listen to the instrumental version that was released, and then we will go from there. Okay, this is the closest thing we got to an actual completely new version. All the other ones were like mixes on different versions. Although at the same time, this is basically just the album version, the 2024 album version without the vocals. So it's still not really a new version, but the closest we got anyway. You've heard me talk about instrumentals before. They very rarely make the crown jewel as well because I usually prefer the vocals. Like, how can you not want Freddie Mercury's vocals on your tracks if that's how can Freddie Mercury not being on the track be a best version of a track? It's hard to even consider that. However, I always love the instrumentals as curiosities. Generally, you can hear more that has been covered up by the vocals. You get to hear more in the background. With that being said, this version, I didn't feel I heard a lot different. The vocals didn't cover up too much. There's a little bit of the, during the verses, a little bit of the bass kind of sounds kind of cool, but I've heard it before, just hearing more clearer without the vocals being in the way. It's a good version for sure, but as far as crown jewel versions go, I don't see how I would ever listen to this as my favorite version of the track, and that's the point of the podcast. So I'm glad I have it, but early spoiler, it's not going to make my crown jewel. All right, speaking of crown jewel, let's get into it now. Let's rank the versions with the new tracks inserted. How's it going to go? All right, from least favorite to favorite or a crown jewel version, the bottom, that's where I still have the Queen and Adam Lambert live version, not a full version. Vocals are fine. It's not the problem with it, but there's definitely, I would just rather listen to the Freddie version for sure. Up above that, instrumental, like hearing the rawness and the original band performing as they do. BBC Session July 73, then the BBC Session February 73, both good versions. Just nothing special compared to the other versions for sure, for me. From there, that's where I go with the album version. Above that, just incrementally, is the 2024 mix. It's definitely a superior mix, but I'm not going to place it above any of the live versions I have, which I do like for sure. From there, we have the Live at the Odeon version from Hammersmith 1975, then Live Killers, the 1979 live album release. From there, that's where I put Trident Take 13, the Unused Master. While not my technically favorite version of the track, or not even my favorite version of the Queen 1 box set, it is probably the most interesting one to me, the one I might play a lot more because of the difference and because of the difference in sound quality between this and the unreleased acetate version we had heard previously. From there, I do have the Day Late demo, the original mix, the 2011 version, I should say. Then from there, the 2024 Day Late demo, which was definitely superior, but not quite superior enough to take out Live at the Rainbow, March 74, Rock Montreal, Live at the Rainbow, November 1974, and winner, still champion, still crown jewel, the long lost retake from 1975. That will end our crown jewel. Now, as far as ranking it goes on a scale of 1 to 11, it's not going to change, really. Long Lost Retake won it, and I gave it an 8.5 out of 11, because we always rank things out of 11 here on PLD Projects. So no change there, not surprisingly. I don't foresee the Queen 1 box set changing any rankings number-wise as far as on a scale of 1 to 11, because they are all the same for the most part. Something really would have to knock me out to change the numbers at all, but that being said, that is this week's episode. Keep Yourself Alive at Revisited. Long Lost Retake, still alive, still winning, still the crown jewel, but some good showings, especially for the 2024 Day Late demo, the Unused Master from Trident Take 13, even the 2024 album mix, which was superior to the album mix. So a good showing for the Queen 1 box set. And that'll do it for this week. Next week, stay tuned. Doing All Right, which has another 4 versions to listen to. 2024 mix, a Trident Take 1 with a guide vocal, a backing track, and an officially released live version for the first time, live at San Diego Sports Arena, March 12th, 1976. You don't want to miss that. But if you do love this, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Leave a 5-star rating on audio. If you want to join a Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Projects. I tend to get these episodes out early for you guys, so you can take a listen to it earlier than the rest of the world. But if you can't join it, I get it. I understand. But like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Help me fight the almighty algorithm. That'll do it for us this week, folks. Stay tuned next week, and I hope you will keep yourself alive and always be doing all right. Stay safe, everybody.